I hope everybody's doing well and in the mums and dads, renovators and decorators group. And I hope you're enjoying these videos that I'm popping out, which is all about retirement, reaching our retirement. The reason why I'm doing this little video series is because I speak to people on the phone, right? It's the favorite part of what I do is actually finding out what's behind you guys, your stories, where you're at, what properties you've managed to accumulate, what you need to do, what you're desiring, whether you want to, quit your day jobs and go and do renovating full time, all that kind of stuff is what I really enjoy doing, right? So I feel very privileged to actually do that. How much time do you actually need to retire? It is one thing that comes up all of the time is people say to me, I'd like to retire next Christmas, or I'd planned to retire in 2 years' time. And I think, whoops, you're actually in no position to do so. So, it really worries me when people think that they're about to retire. It's great. It's great. It's a great thing to do if you want to retire. But, how much time do you need to prepare? If you're in your 40s or if you're in your 50s, is it too late? When is too late to prepare? So I love this saying from Tony Robbins, first of all. He says, we usually overestimate what we think we can accomplish in 1 year, but we grossly underestimate what we can accomplish in a decade. Such an important thing to say. I know that people, especially when they contact me, if they're in their 60s, say, okay, I want to retire in 2 years. And I'm thinking, oof, you better get cracking. In saying that, you can accomplish a lot in 10 years. It gets tougher. The shorter time frame you have, the tougher it is, but you can actually accomplish a lot in 10 years. I think we really underestimate what property will do over time, like holding property. I love to renovate and flip. I love to buy and hold. I love all of the strategies in relation to investment. But over 10 years, holding on to the right property with a good rental return, that's gold. I think we forget how being patient sometimes can actually really get us there. But the truth is, the later you start, the faster you have to move. If you're already in your 60s, you won't be able to just buy a property and hold on to it and think, okay, I'm set up for retirement, because you need to do something different than that. You need to move faster. You need to do more exquisite deals. Those deals, they have to be great. If you're getting close to retirement and you don't have time up your sleeve, then every deal you do has to be a winner. You can't, when you're in your 20s and your 30s and things like that, sometimes you can stuff up a little bit and you've got time to recover. If you bought in an area that is a bit of a dud, you've got time to move that property, to perhaps renovate and sell it, or just to hold it and then go and spend some energy doing something great in another area to compensate for that property that's not doing so well. But you have got time to take some action. When you're in your 60s, you don't have that time up your sleeve. Every deal has to be great. It has to be an educated decision. It has to be well researched. You must do your due diligence, and you've just got to buy really, really good properties. You can't go back. You can't make mistakes. You don't have time up your sleeve, and the banks will start to frown at you. Renovation should be a part of your strategy. If you've left it too late, when I talk about the faster you have to move, I mean you're going to have to do some things that you might not have actually pictured yourself doing in your 30s and your 40s. You're going to have to do something pretty drastic. Renovation should be a part of your strategy so that you're forcing value upon property, just not waiting for it to slowly go up on its own. You don't have time up your sleeve. And your focus must be on creating cash flow for long-term income. It's all about retiring is all about having a wage, like a wage replacement, which means income. Your focus has to be on creating cash flow. If you're renovating, you are looking at renovating to force value upon a property. You are looking at increasing the rental return. Perhaps you are looking at selling that property and, reconsolidating some of your other debts. It is all about releasing some funds so that you've got some cash flow. And income should come from more than one stream. You've seen what's happened recently in recent times where people who thought they had secure work, Qantas, for example, all of a sudden have found themselves without. They've found themselves without a job. Now, if you've got multiple streams of income, that means rental income from multiple properties. So that if one property is vacant, you're okay. So that if you lose your job, you're okay. So that you might even have a side hustle. So you're okay. If something, like if you've got 4 or 5 streams of income and one drops off, you're still okay. It's really important to spread the risk by developing more than one stream of income, one source of income. And look, your age, honestly, your age is going to be a factor. Your physical capabilities when you're renovating aren't the same as when you're 20. We might go to the gym, we might feel okay, we might look okay, but the truth is when you're on site, if you're expecting to DIY every project, you're going to get a little bit more tired than you did when you're in your 20s and your 30s. So understand that. And your borrowing capacity can be affected. Banks will frown upon you if you're not in a great financial position already and you want to borrow more money. So you might have to go and get your funds from an alternative lender. But the truth is, it's been proven, guys, that you can do a lot in perhaps 5 years. So 10 years is ideal. 10 years is a beautiful amount of time to really set yourself up for retirement. 5 years is still okay. And it's been proven. So here we go. A guy called Peter Spann, I read his books years ago, and I think he's actually just passed, which is sad, but he committed as a young fella to do 5 renovations per year for 5 years. 5 per year for 5 years. He worked 2 jobs, just in pubs and clubs and bars. And just so that he could be on site during the day, he worked his backside off. There's no doubt about it, but he did 5 renovations in 5 years and set himself up for life. So it can be done. You can do a lot in 5 years. One of my students, Fung, she did 9 renovations in 1 year. 9 renovations in 1 year. And guys, I love it when people renovate and they earn a minimum of $50,000 profit from each renovation. So you do the math on 9. And some of those profits were more than 50K. So, Steve McKnight wrote these books and I followed him years ago, back in the early 2000s, and still follow him. He did 0 to 130 properties in 3.5 years. He actually was able to amass that amount of properties in 3.5 years by focusing on buying the right type of property, the right type of deal, so that he could keep going and going and going. And a 90-day cosmetic renovations, like, it's pretty simple. Most of my guys will do 3 of those in 1 year without too much trouble, and many will do more. So say if a renovation took a cosmetic renovation, which is just paint, tidying up, scrubbing clean, new floors, perhaps a new kitchen, bathroom, like you're just, redoing everything, not changing the structure, not putting plans into council. It's really possible to do one of those in 90 days. In fact, some people do them in 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. So see how you can do perhaps 3 in a year. So if each renovation, it gives you more than 50,000 in profit, if you choose the right property and you do the right type of renovation, then you can do a lot in 5 years. It's not too late. It's not too late, but you're going to have to get the hustle on. I think it's really important to work backwards from what you want. So say if you're wanting to retire on, say, $80,000 to $100,000 per year, let's work backwards. Say if you had a property, like this is actually my property, it's a commercial property. I purchased it at $398,000. The rental income is $39,000 per year. So I would need 2 of those properties to reach my $80,000 to $100,000 per year if that's all I wanted to retire on. Property number 2, properties for less than $200,000. It is possible to buy properties for under $200,000 or around $200,000 in good, solid, healthy towns. They rent at a 7% yield, which is for around about $14,000 per year. You would need 6 of those. But the beauty is it's not too difficult to save for deposits or pull equity out of something for a deposit on a property that's worth less than $200,000. It's also not difficult to get loans on property that is worth less than $200,000. You could renovate those properties and add value fast and then draw out against one and go and do it again and again. But you would need 6 of those properties to reach your income goals of $80,000 to $100,000 per year. Property number 3, This again is mine. It's a dual occupancy in Sydney. Its value is around about 3 mil, but it's going to rent for 104,000 per year, 2,000 a week, guys, 2,000 a week. So there you go. You only need one of those, one, and you're on your way to retirement, and a decent retirement. If you want more money, then go do more deals. That's it. So it's important to like really work out what you want, how far you want to push it. Understand that it's going to take some energy and some time. Nothing is for nothing is a great saying of mine. That means that if you don't do anything at all, that you can't expect to get anything in return, that there's going to be some kind of energy exchange, and it's not going to happen from thinking and dreaming. So start doing some figures, start searching for properties. That is going to be your next right move. That is going to take you one step at a time towards retirement. Aim for good income, guys. Good income's where it's at. Next week, I'll be talking about the quickest way to leapfrog to retirement and giving you some examples of that. After that, I'll talk about why it matters to plan ahead, and we'll talk about what you want for your lifestyle in retirement. It's really important to, remember your why, to remember who for, and who you can help, who you can have an impact upon, your life, your partner's life, your children's life, etc. So it's really important sometimes to reflect back, because that gives you the mojo and the energy to keep going. Don't forget, guys, all of these guides, all these videos are popped into this Mums and Dads, Renovators and Decorators group as guides. So if you look for the guides tab in this group, the Mums and Dads, Renovators and Decorators, you'll see them there. And they're also on YouTube. You'll find them on YouTube, and the YouTube channel is Renovate and Real Estate. So go subscribe to that channel. Quite often I'll speak to guest speakers during the week who are in the property realm, who can support you in the education section of this growing your property portfolio. And I'll pop the videos and the interviews in YouTube so everyone can benefit. Cheers, guys. Have a beautiful day. If you ever want to speak to me about where you are, what you need, where you need to be to map out a bit of a plan, you can always book your call. Cheers, guys. Have a great time. Bye. See you next week.